Gentlemen and lady gentlemen, it is I, Psycho Rick, coming at you again with the last of the series of these videos of this Freudian iceberg theory. Today we're covering the ego, or the I. Understanding the ego. What is ego? I can see many of you are thinking about it and coming up with different definitions of what the ego is. And I can probably guarantee you the majority of you are incorrect. The ego has got an even worse reputation than the superego. It has become a slur, a punching bag for everything that's wrong in the world. We can look to examples, current day examples of the ego being used as a punching bag or a slur. One reason for this is due to the translation of Freud's concept into English. Unlike the German term das Ich, which means the I, or the original German term means das Ich, which means the I. Words are hard. Unlike ego, it is not foreign or technical word, but something Germans would hear and use every day. The disconnection between the term ego and everyday language paved the way for the errant evolution in English-speaking countries. So it is, on the surface level, who we are. This reputation shows a lot of ingratitude. The ego is nothing more or less than the I of the individual. It is your conscious thinking mind that you identify with, and it has a tough job. Remember, look at our geriatric society, our elders within our families, how they still think they were this identity they had before they retired. That's the ego. We're identifying with a part of us. We're trying to present the outer world what we think we are. The ego has to serve three masters. It has the should of the superego, the impulses of the id, as if it's holding ground between this rock and hard place isn't complicated enough. It also has to serve reality. These three masters lead the ego around in loops. Sometimes the id and the reality tug one way, and the superego tugs the other way. Think of your youth culture and peer pressure. Sometimes reality sides with the superego, and the id is determined to pull the opposite way. The ego's job is to adjudicate between many demands. The ego casts the deciding vote. Correction. The ego is the balancer. Ideally, it is judging facility, evaluating which course to take. Sometimes it's just a slave to the loudest voice. Be it id or superego, it is the judging facility that we have. Conscious itself was born out of this conflict of interest. The id bubbles up with impulses. The superego tries to tug you in the other way. Out of this conflict, the ego arises. The ego's job is to adjudicate between the many demands. The ego casts the deciding votes. Back to the beginning when I said that it is the vice president of the Senate. When they're at a deadlock 50-50 vote, the vice president is a deciding factor. The ego is a deciding factor of our id and our superego. Take, for instance, we have a sexual desire. We know we have that desire. We know that desire is taboo by society. But in order to have that need fulfilled, we need to find somebody that's capable or willing to do that with us. So again, our id wants to do X sexual thing. Super ego says, no, that is not good in society. But us, the ego, says, okay, it's not good, but we still have it. Maybe if we find somebody who consents to this type of activity, we can fulfill this need. Traits of the ego, it is the reality principle. It lives in reality. It takes in everything we perceive, goes between both the superego and the id, and we make our decisions and project who we think we are, who we identify as outward, which then influences our behaviors and our actions. It serves the three masters, the id, the superego, and the external world. Task is to find balance between the internal drives and the external reality while satisfying the id and the superego. Judgment, decision making, conscious thinking, and evaluation. Constantly analyzing, constantly talking between the two, constantly making decisions. So, understanding this part of ourselves these parts in ourselves as a whole can help us make better decisions and keep ourselves going forward in a positive manner in our life. The id is our animalistic drives, our desires, everything we want to do, some majority of our needs. The superego is our moral compass, telling us what is right and what is wrong. And the ego, the part we identify with, the conscious part of our mind we identify with, is the judge between those two and reality. Gentlemen and lady gentlemen, thank you for your time. This series of videos is now up again on the screen. You can find me and contact me if you have questions, comments, concerns. You can also leave them in the comment section. Let's keep it cordial, and I will see you in the future.